rev up your engines. Today I'm going to show you why not to buy a Mini, because their engineers, I don't know, they're living in some kind of fantasy world. Look at this. Now it's got a cracked fan belt, but as you can see here, you can't even see the fan belt from the top. Certainly you can't work on it, but you can't even see it. So you got to jack the car up in the air, take off the tire, then go inside. After you got to take all this crap out of the way, but look inside here. First of all, there's an adjuster right here. That's a fulcrum that has to be pulled up to loosen the tension on the belt. This is the tightening end, but the end that you loosen is hidden up there. You can't even see it. And it has this huge nut that no tool that I have can even fit in the hole, nevertheless turn to loosen it. But a setup like this in this Mini, that takes the case. It's probably the most retarded design I've ever seen in my life. I mean, other cars, they have fan belts and they go around each pulley and they work fine. Why on earth did they make a system that has a fan belt that does all of the pulleys except one, and then that one is run indirectly by this stupid plastic tensioner device that pulls up against it, which serves as the friction device to run that pulley? Now, I have seen stupid things in my life, but this takes the case. From a company that's basically German, a lot of BMW, and English, the most Mickey Mouse design I have ever seen in my life. The only thing I saw that was dumber than that was ages ago the MGs had two 6-volt batteries in them connected together to make a 12-volt battery. MG was going from 6-volt to 12-volt systems, and I guess they had a warehouse full of 6-volt batteries. So rather than putting a 12-volt battery in, they put two 6-volt ones and hooked them together to make 12 volts. I mean, only the English would make a car that retarded and would continue to do something as crazy as that. You got this little wheel here that runs off the main wheel, and then you got another pulley here with the stupid little rubber thing built on it that runs off the friction of this wheel spinning. Why didn't they just make a belt that went around it like every other manufacturer? Now granted, they're cute cars. There's one here. My neighbor just bought a brand new one too. It's got that cool dual sunroof, giant sunroof, and cute little double doors. They're cute little cars. They got decent handling, cool giant speedometer in the middle, with the tachometer right in front of you, zoom zoom, and actually quite comfortable seats. Pretty good gas mileage. This is getting 35.2 average city and highway. But under the hood, it's just too tiny. It's got a little bitty 1.4 liter engine. Barely gets out of its own way with an automatic transmission. And the wiring, don't even get me talking about the wiring. I've seen the headlight wiring be so thin that they all melt and start fusing together because the insulation comes off and the bare metal touches bare metal. Just uncalled for these days. And as you can see here, it says made in EU. Hey, maybe Brexit is a good deal for the Brits. They're getting this crappy European stuff put in their cars. They're better off without it if you ask me. Look at all the cheap plastic stuff. Even way inside here, the intake manifold's made out of plastic too. A lot of plastic junk. Believe me, with my experience on these things, they get to be old like this. This one's 9 years old, all that plastic starts cracking, starts breaking, and it may be made out of plastic, but it's not cheap plastic. When you're buying English or German-made plastic parts for a Mini, be prepared to pay up the wazoo for them. Catalytic converters go out on these things. Sometimes they cost well over 1,200 bucks for a new one. They just are not solid built. Now, the original Mini, it was a revolutionary car. After World War II, British didn't have much money. A lot of them were riding around on motorcycles with sidecars. Some of those sidecars, little bitty cabins going down the road with people hiding inside them. But the driver of the motorcycle still had to go through all the weather. So they came up with a Mini front-wheel drive vehicle that was simple to fix, didn't cost much to buy, and didn't cost much to repair, and got phenomenal gas mileage for a tiny little car. But the new Mini, it's anything but revolutionary. It's just using technology that other cars had and not building them all that well. The engines that they use now, they're not all that dependable either. I see them blowing head gaskets all the time. Or they got 40, 50,000 miles on them and they're burning tons of oil, burning a quart of oil every 400 or 500 miles. Just not built all that well. And when you combine things that aren't built that well with the same things that aren't designed all that well, like the ridiculous fan belt system on this car, That's just a recipe for disaster. So unless you're into disasters yourself, my advice is stay far away from the Minis if you want a car that's going to last and even hold its value over time. You can get these things really cheap used, but there's a reason for it, and it's a reason that says don't buy it in the first place. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.